welcome to our webinar on the history, present, and future of the Goldwater Scholar Community, or GSC. And we're especially excited to have all of the 2021 scholars here, and we would like to wish you a congratulations and welcome once again. My name is Vaishnavi. I'm currently a junior at MIT and a 2020 scholar, and I serve as one of the co-coordinators of the GSC Council. Through this webinar, the whole council wants to tell you what we've been up to and how you can join us to build this relatively new organization and this amazing community. And again, before I hand it over to Matt, who's one of the founding fathers of the GSC, I just want to direct everyone's attention again to the chat where you can put in questions as they arise throughout the webinar. And we'll have someone moderating and collecting these questions so we can address them all at the end. So with that, I will hand it over to Matt. Next.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Vaishnavi. I'm Matt. I am one of the co-coordinators for the GSC currently. And Danielle, could you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, wonderful picture here. I, along with these three guys, sort of helped come up with the idea and found the foundations of what is the Goldwater Scholar Community now. And before we get on with describing all of the things that the GSC is, I think it's good to say why it started. So first, just let's introduce everybody here. So I've introduced myself. I am senior co-coordinator. I'm currently a quant. I'm working in industry. And Dr. Matea, would you like to introduce yourself? Maybe not. Okay, Aaron.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Yeah, hey everyone. I'm Aaron. I'm currently a master's student at Cambridge on a Marshall Scholarship. I was a 2018 scholar, one of the original founding fathers, as Matt said, back in 2018. And since then, I've moved into more of an advisory role.
Mm-hmm. Danielle?
Hi, everyone.
Well, you already know him. He's been talking a lot, so.
Yeah, hi, everyone. Yeah, so I'm trying to run the Twitch this time. So you're seeing me come in and out. But yeah, I helped start the GSC a few years back. I originally was one of the people who advocated for us using the Slack. And I think that's come along quite well. So we've accomplished quite a bit in the past few years. I'm really proud of how far we've come.
Right. So the main idea was that it was actually Aaron who came up with the idea originally that, you know, Goldwater scholars should have some means to connect with each other to form some kind of community, because as in 2018 that nothing like this existed. We knew it existed for other scholarship programs and we wanted to make it happen for us. So long story short, we did it. And it was a lot of work. People were skeptical at first, but now you all have a chance to connect remotely. People have had chances to connect in person. And we've got a really fantastic council leading a lot of really cool initiatives that you'll hear all about tonight, and that you are now very lucky to have the opportunity to participate in yourselves. So it's been a very exciting 3 years, and I think it's going to be, the upcoming years are going to be even more exciting, and that's due to all of you. So yeah, look, it's going to be a fun presentation, and lots of fun stuff coming.
Matt, I'm now unmuted.
There we go. This is the most important dude. Dr. Matea, introduce yourself.
This is John Matea, president of the Goldwater Foundation. It's been a pleasure working with all of the members of the Goldwater Scholar community over the past 3 years. And I look forward to working with all of the new scholars from the 2021 class. So please.
All right, next slide.
Yeah, so broadly speaking, the mission of the GSC is to foster connections among scholars at all stages, grow the sense of community among scholars, and promote diversity and inclusion in the scholarship application pool. And next, please. To work towards this mission, we've put together a really productive council, and I just wanted to tell you about our structure before we go into each of our initiatives and our committees. So the way that we get all of this good work done is we have an executive council, which consists of the co-coordinators, secretary, and leads for each of the initiatives who organize like everything related to them. and we work on like the high level planning for the GSC. And then also within the council, under the umbrella of each of the initiative leads, we have individual committees like diversity and inclusion, mentorship, funding, social media, the website, social events, webinars like this one, and the upcoming conference. But basically, each of these initiatives has its own dedicated committee working towards it and accomplishing all of the planning and the actual groundwork to get these goals done. So at the end, stay tuned. Tomorrow we'll be putting out a form that will enable you to join the council in multiple capacities, either as a member of the executive council or as a member of one of these committees, which focuses on these specific initiatives. Next.
Okay, hi, I'm Veronica. I'm a senior at University of California, Santa Barbara, and I'm one of the leads for the Diversity and Inclusion Initiative. So our goal is to support underrepresented and underserved students, especially those from community colleges and minority serving institutions, to pursue STEM research careers. And right now we're specifically targeting undergraduate students at institutions around the nation and giving them resources and opportunities to build their own research experiences while they're still in college. And next slide. So a little bit about what we've accomplished so far. The first thing we did was to create some PDFs and resource guides that can be widely dispersed across institutions or to organizations that support minority groups in research. And we've generated a Goldwater scholarship application guide, which is exactly what it sounds like. It walks through the Goldwater application question by question. And we also generated a more general STEM research guide, which includes resources, links, descriptions for REUs, how to contact and like email professors, get letters of rec, and a lot of other tips and advice on how to navigate research throughout college. And while we were generating these guides, we also collaborated directly with Goldwater consultants and reviewers to get their feedback to make sure that our guides are accurate and comprehensive. And all of you have been super successful at navigating research at your own universities. So we'd love to have you share your tips and advice, especially for like underserved and underrepresented undergrads. Next slide.
Hi, I'm Kyle. I'm another one of the leads of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. So in addition to creating these resource documents for students at any university to use to help them apply for the Goldwater, we've also been developing a whole mentorship program that directly pairs Goldwater scholars with students at underrepresented and underserved institutions around the country. And so in just the last handful of months, we've already paired over 30 scholars with minority serving institutions, some of which you can see on the screen here. Veronica and Naomi are going to tell you a little bit about that.
Hi, I'm Naomi. I'm a fourth-year undergraduate at the University of California, Davis, and I am the third co-coordinator of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And something that has been really exciting about this mentorship program is that some of the mentors in the first batch of our school pairings, so mentors who help students apply to the 2021 Goldwater competition, were actually able to see their mentees win scholarships. And so it's been really fantastic to already be a part of that process.
And I also reached out to a university in January to set up mentorship. And I went in thinking that maybe I'd get a couple undergrads and potential Goldwater applicants, but the campus representative actually got super excited to collaborate. And we ended up establishing an entire STEM mentorship program. Now we have 9 mentors, 36 mentees, which is super exciting. And it's just been a really rewarding experience. And this just shows how much potential I think we have as a group, and especially having like the recognition of being a Goldwater scholar. Next slide.
So going forward into this next year, we're really hoping to build off of our successes and continue to expand and create new ways to help underrepresented students in STEM. So a few of the things that we're hoping to do and we would love your help with is generating more resources for potential applicants at any institutions, creating materials for webinars that we would like to host at both the individual schools we're working with and that are open to any school around the country. We also need people to lead small group discussions with the mentors that we have working at these schools so that we can get a sense of what is and isn't working and pass ideas around about how best to mentor these students. And we're also looking for people to help us develop some web pages for our initiative that will go on the broader Goldwater Scholar community website. And it would be great also to have some people with some programming skills who could help us out with the logistics of selecting which schools we're going to work at. So all skill sets are welcome, and we would love to have any of you here on this committee. But we also, if you have any of these technical skills, we'd love to have you too. Next.
So if any of this sounds interesting to you, we hope you get involved and join our committee to help us further develop our program and facilitate mentorship. Another way to get involved is also to be a mentor. So we pair you up with a minority serving institution. You'd have a commitment about 5 hours a month for a whole year, and you can fill out our mentor interest form on the announcement channel on Slack. Next slide.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Zaheen. I am a junior at Case Western and a 2020 scholar, and I'm also one of the co-heads of the mentorship program alongside Elisa. And overall, our goal of the mentorship program is really to build one-on-one connections between both current and prior Goldwater scholars. Next. Okay, and so first, in order to do this, we need to really create a Goldwater Scholar directory. And to do this, we created a private site of our website, and we created this whole profile system that many of you have seen. And we wanted to really create a space and digital infrastructure for many of you to both talk about your interests, network, and eventually participate in the mentorship program. And so now that we actually created the Goldwater Scholar directory, we began to really reaching out to prior Goldwater scholars and really building both the directory and the mentorship program. We reached out to over 818 prior Goldwater scholars and have the LinkedIns for over 404 more Goldwater scholars. Next. And so now that we've really begun to reach out to prior Goldwater scholars, we were able to really test the mentorship program in a small group and really from then on refine the mentorship program to what you all see today. And we're now running the first cycle of our mentorship program, which many of you are all participating in, and we're really excited to be able to match you with your mentors in the coming weeks. And now Elisa is going to be talking about what we'll be doing in the future and how you can be involved in the mentorship program.
Next. Hi, everyone. I'm Elisa. I'm a fourth year undergraduate at Trinity College, and I'm co-coordinator of the mentorship program with Zaheen. So as Zaheen mentioned, we have a few immediate goals moving forward with the mentorship initiative. And the first of these is to continue to build the Goldwater Scholar community. So we basically want to get as many scholars who received scholarship prior to the inception of the GSC in 2018 and have them join our community. And this is especially important to us on the mentorship initiative because it would allow us to scale up our program and even expand it to allow different types of mentoring opportunities. So for example, we've had a number of graduate scholars who've expressed interest in not only serving as mentors for undergraduate scholars, but also wanting to be mentees themselves. And right now we simply don't have the mentor pool to support this, but we could. So we're going to be reaching out to a lot more scholars via email and LinkedIn and expanding our community over the next year. And then our second main goal is to improve upon our program with each cycle. So at the moment, our plan is to have three-month cycles per year. And at the end of each of these, we'll be collecting feedback from both mentors and mentees and adapting the program as necessary so that it can be the best that it can be. Next. So how can you get involved? We would love you to join our initiative if you're excited about it. And if you have any ideas that could make it even better. And the second thing that we would love for you to do if you can is if you know any prior Goldwater scholars, we would love for you to invite them to the Slack to join the scholar directory and even encourage them to serve as mentors in the mentorship program. Next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christine. I'm a first-year grad student at Case Western, and I am the chair of the funding committee. So overall, our mission is to bring in funding that supports the Goldwater Scholar community in the short and the long term. So you've seen some of the progress that we've made in such a short time. In just 3 years, we've opened incredible doors. What you may be surprised to learn, though, is that most of our work is not funded yet. We've only brought in one grant, but that grant was from a foundation that loved our mission so much that they gave us $50,000 in our first year of work. People believe in us and what we stand for as Goldwater scholars. And so looking into the future, I just want to give you a snapshot of the kinds of doors that we can open with our creativity and our energy. I mean, just in the GSC, we already have this incredible network of mentors, friends, peers all across the country. We could turn that into our own live conferences or TED Talk forums. We could turn this into getting scholars specially invited to conferences and career opportunities. And we can also take the incredible energy that we have and create even a societal impact. I mean, thinking big, what if every underrepresented STEM student had access to mentoring whenever they needed it? What if every STEM student who wanted a PhD had the opportunities and resources just like what we are developing right now? What if scholars were in every decision-making setting that was guiding the future of STEM? And here's the key question that I think we can really explore. What if the GSC could make all of that happen? From a funding perspective, I really think we can get there. We just need the resources to take our work to a nationwide scale. So next slide. So when I started the funding committee this past year, I worked on 3 main foundations. The first was building our vision so that we could develop a funding strategy that would work both in the short term as well as the long term so that we can open these doors. So the funding committee now has an official collaborative relationship with the Goldwater Foundation, as well as the 501c3 that brings in money for Goldwater scholarships. So, you know, we're raising money for scholarships. Now we can raise money for the Goldwater scholar community at the same time. And so we've already begun work on this strategic vision in the first couple of steps. So first is outreach. We started evaluating hundreds of potential candidate funders, as well as beginning to build a network of potential funding connections, which is something that I will return to in a minute. And the second thing is that we are compiling the foundations to share our story and the impact that we have as scholars on society. So that so far is compiling scholars' experiences and accomplishments and documenting them. So now we're looking into the next steps for the future. So next slide, please. I would really love to find more people who are just as excited about the potential for the GSC to open these doors. So any ideas are more than welcome. They are invited, in fact, for this committee. And there are 3 projects that I am especially interested in hearing others' thoughts and energy for. The first is to develop a Goldwater Scholar Hall of Fame. We haven't yet found all of the Goldwater scholars who have made a profound influence on society, and it would be great to document them all in one place and even connect with them potentially. The second is to develop a survey that can be shared with the entire Goldwater scholar community so that we can continue to be updated on all of the amazing things that Goldwater scholars do. And the final is to compile a fact sheet of all of the achievements that Goldwater scholars have gone on to do. So next slide. If you're interested in getting involved with this funding work, I would love to hear from you. There are plenty of opportunities if you're interested in joining the committee, but also if you don't have time to join the committee, there are still plenty of ways that you can help. Right now, it's incredibly important to find as many possible connections for funding that we can. So if you happen to know anyone, I would love to hear any connections that you have. And if you're interested in building our networking efforts, I would love to hear about that too. Thank you.
Okay, hey everyone, it's me again, and here I'm going to talk about webinars where we really want to help Goldwater scholars just receive guidance, about fellowships, careers, graduate school, and more. Next. Okay, and yeah, so in the past, we've had, graduate school webinars, we've had UK fellowship webinars, and we've had an NSF GRFP webinar where we then invited a former president of the NSF GRFP to talk to all of you about the NSF fellowship, which was actually really awesome and many of you enjoyed it. And so we also just found, in terms of just having these casual conversations, it really helps to have these on Twitch and allow all of you to ask really meaningful questions about these webinars and so on. Next. And so in the future, we really want to have more webinars. Hopefully you can have one every 2 months. We want to have an MD PhD webinar, non-UK fellowships, non-academic careers, mental health, and more webinars. Next. And yeah, so if you want to get involved, we really want any of you to really help us plan future webinars, whether that be the actual planning, advertising, moderating, and so much more. And if any of you have any great webinar ideas, but topics we should discuss, definitely feel free to let us know, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Next.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Linda. I'm a PhD student at Harvard University, and I'm the lead coordinator for the website initiative. So the goal of this initiative is to build and maintain a website for the GSC. This website serves as a centralized place to connect with other scholars and resources, stay up to date on the activity of the GSC Council and the community as a whole, and to just learn about your peers in this Goldwater community. So next. So currently we do have a website up and running. The URL is shown here, goldwatercommunity.org. And so far, our major milestones have been really in establishing the format of the website on the WordPress platform and collaborating with other initiatives to start filling pages with content. A few screenshots of the website homepage are shown here, where we have a rudimentary format for the menu that we want to establish. And we have several embedded widgets and other things to really increase the multimedia presence of our site. And so we're also moving towards solidifying a brand identity to really define our community presence in the digital world. If you're part of other scholars programs, you might see that they have an established community with a very big website that evolves over time. We want to do that, but as a new community, we have this unique ability to be a part of this building from the ground up and really craft our own identity as a dynamic and welcoming community. So even though I've mentioned all these accomplishments, if you actually go to the website right now, you'll see it's very bare bones and incomplete. So that's where you guys come in. So next. We are seeking anyone who is interested in being part of the behind the scenes computer magic to help us create an amazing website. It's a plus if you have the skills and the topics I listed below, but we welcome anyone who is excited to help regardless of background. Website development is a very dynamic process that evolves over time. So it really is this environment where you can learn a lot of skills in a short time and really watch the things you're doing come up as art and show up on the website for other people to see and enjoy. So I hope to see you interested in this committee. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mariah. I'm a PhD student at UW-Madison and the social events coordinator of the GSC. The social events committee is just like it sounds. It was created for the purpose of building a sense of community among Goldwater scholars. Next. Since starting the social events committee, we've hosted numerous gatherings from fake PowerPoints to game nights and including tomorrow's gather, which at the time that I took that screenshot in the lower right-hand corner, it was 92 responses, but now it's around 97. P.S. If you have not yet signed up, please sign up by tonight at midnight. The deadline is tonight at midnight Pacific time. Next. So what we're looking for, for the future, we are looking to host more regular events. Personally, I would really love to have something once a month so that we can all connect with each other and get to know each other. We're always looking for new and engaging ideas. Especially online is always evolving. So any ways that we can find new ways to host virtual events and get more scholars involved, that's always welcome. And also post-COVID, we are hoping to start the regional coordinators program. This was something that we wanted to do actually ever since I've been in the GSC. And so the regional coordinators would be volunteers for scholar dense areas that would host in-person meetups, plan, organize, etc. Obviously, we can't do that right now because of COVID, so that little initiative has been on hold since last spring, but we are hoping to start that soon. Next. So ways you can get involved are, of course, by joining the committee. You can help organize and host the virtual events throughout the year, generate ideas, work with me to come up with some new ways to engage in the community. You can also become a regional coordinator. I'm planning to send out a form early in or like around midsummer, looking for volunteers to be regional coordinators. And most importantly, you can get involved by attending and participating in virtual events. Obviously that includes tomorrow's gather, but anytime that something pops up on the announcements channel, if you've got the time, you should definitely attend. Next.
All right. Hi, I'm Matt. I am not the coordinator for social media. The coordinator is Vaibhavi Shah. She is an incoming med student at Stanford, and she couldn't make it tonight, so I'm taking over for her. But yeah, social media is a way that we can, of course, connect with each other and also with the general public. Next slide. Some things that we've been up to is we've been running an Instagram, a Twitter, a LinkedIn, and a Facebook. Please, if you're on these platforms, please check it out. Some of the things that we've been doing is we've highlighted executive committee members on Goldwater Wednesday features once a week. And we've interviewed some past scholars for more extensive social media highlights. And we're also, of course, expanding our reach to people who may come to win the scholarship in the future. Next slide. So if you want to get involved with this, and I know that among this crowd of 20-year-olds, I have to imagine there are some of you with social media skills, and you can put them to good use if you want to join this. So it'd be great to help us, in particular Vaibhavi, with this initiative, run the social media accounts, create new content. If you're good at designing things and making things look great visually, please, we're very interested in you helping out. But this isn't necessary. What's most important is that you care about connecting with other people and giving a good public face to the Goldwater Scholar community. There are also opportunities for leadership here. Vaibhavi won't be leading it, so if you want to take a more serious role, this is a good place for you. Next slide.
All right, it's me again. So I just want to introduce our last committee and also our newest committee, which is actually related to organizing the first ever GSC conference. We had actually been hoping to organize it for a long time, but then COVID hit. And even though we're almost at the end of the tunnel, this year it will have to be virtual because we're planning it for early August. So even though we have like the big picture sketch of what this conference is going to look like, our committee right now consists of only 3 people. So we would love to have you join, since this could be really great as a platform for scholars to make new connections with each other, share your research through poster sessions and or lightning talks, hear from famous keynote speakers, and attend workshops related to like the soft skills of succeeding in STEM. So yeah, there will be a form at the end that will be sent out tomorrow, through which you can join any of these committees. Next.
Okay, yeah, like what Vaishnavi said, if you're interested in applying to join us, just fill out this form here and we'll be talking about the timeline. Next. Yeah, so tomorrow we'll be releasing the application form in the announcement channel on Slack. And so by the 23rd, applications are due. And after that, we'll be interviewing you, and hopefully in May you can get on board and really begin doing awesome stuff. Next. Okay, and now if you have any questions, feel free to ask us and we'd love to answer it. But yeah.
Mariah, are there any questions in the chat that we need to address?
Yeah, so there's one question so far, and it was asking who can we contact to get involved with web dev?
Yeah, so
sorry. Yeah, so web development, the first step to getting involved is to definitely fill out that application form on the previous slide, which you guys, I have the link already, I believe, or
the link will be sent out tomorrow.
Oh yes, it
Yeah.
will be sent out tomorrow. So yeah, if you want to get involved in web development, definitely first fill out that form. I can leave my contact information if you want very specific details about what it's like to do web development for the GSC website specifically. I'll go into the general Slack channel for the Goldwater community, and feel free to engage with me there.
Next question, are there regular council/committee meeting times? If so, when do you normally have those? That varies committee to committee, as well as the council. We do have regular meetings tri-weekly. However, that is, as of right now, it's always subject to change with everyone's new and fluctuating schedules. Anybody else want to add to that? If not, I can go to the next question.
I mean, I suppose obviously that should not be a restriction for anybody. Like for when the new council is created, the scheduling will be figured out in a way that accommodates to everybody's commitments as best as possible. So, although it's probably worth saying it's once every 3 weeks or so, which that may fluctuate based on the demand of tasks on hand.
Yeah, also since everyone's busy during the academic year more than the summer usually, in the summer we usually have more frequent meetings and just get more work done. But it's definitely, we're very understanding of people's other commitments, especially academics and research, given that we're Goldwater scholars.
Next question is, back on the diversity committee, where are those guides available?
So one of the guides is currently available. I think I am putting the link. I believe I've put the link in the Twitch chat. The other guide has just a tiny bit of work left to do. So if you would like to help us out in finishing that up and all of the other great work that the D&I committee is doing, please fill out that form and join us. But the Goldwater application resource guide I've linked in the chat, and you're also welcome to ask in the general GSC Slack. I'm happy to provide links.
Next question is, do you know when the GSC conference might be held?
Yeah, so it's tentatively scheduled for the first weekend-ish of August. It'll probably take place over 2 or 3 days, not the entire day, because these Zoom conferences get a bit hard on the eyes. But it'll be really fun, so stay tuned for more details about that, and we'd love to have you help organize.
Is there an estimated time commitment for being a part of a subgroup, or does it vary by group? So I would definitely say that it varies by group, especially because if you're involved in diversity and inclusion or mentorship, there tends to be more projects going on in that versus if you were to say join the social events committee, where we are aiming to host an event once a month. So it definitely depends on group to group, but it's what you're passionate about and what you want to be involved in. There are no more questions at this time, so feel free to drop more questions in the chat.
Anybody know any good jokes while we wait, or should we just call it? I think we're good to go. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. This was a lot of fun. I hope you got a lot out of this. Yeah, I would love to see many of you get involved. There's clearly very much a lot of very good work to do, and we know you're all competent enough to do a good job with it. So yeah, please stay tuned on the Slack and fill out the form once it gets sent out. All right, thanks everybody.